Hey, welcome back. It's Wednesday, so I think this is going to be a Wednesday thing. I think that's the schedule I'm going to go with on these. We are back with another Codewars challenge. We are on another 8Q challenge. Today's challenge, array plus array. So the description, I'm new to coding, and now I want to get the sum of two arrays. Actually, the sum of all their elements. I appreciate your help. All right, so I've done this one. I'm going to just go over how I thought about this one. I'm going to open up VS Code. We're going to do everything in the terminal. The only things that you need is you should have a script file, and you should have these node modules. You should have npm to download node. Node basically allows you to just run JavaScript on your computer locally. So just make sure you have these npm-v, check the version, and then node-v, check the version. Okay, so they are on my device. I'm going to clear the terminal. Yeah, so that's all you need. The script file, that's what we're going to be working in, and you need these node modules. All right, so console.log. Hi. Every time you make a change, make sure you hit save, and then you're going to run the code. You want to go node, and then run that script file, script.js. It should say hi back to me. Hi, cool. So here's what we're going to do with this challenge. We have two arrays. So I'm going to say array 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let array 2, it's going to be the same one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically what my function needs to do is it needs to take all of these and add them all together. So we should get 20 in the end. I'm going to create a function. We'll just call it array plus array. And it's going to take two arguments. It's going to be array 1, array 2. So the breakdown of this is the function. The function is going to do stuff, whatever you want it to do. In this case, what my function is going to do is it's going to take array 1, it's going to take array 2, and it's going to add them all together. And we're going to hope that we get 20 as an output. So what I'm going to do for mine, I'm going to say let sum equals 0. So my number, the way that I thought about this one is I'm going to start at 0, and then what my function will do is it's going to combine both of these arrays as one, and then it's just going to add them to this 0 amount. So it'll go over both these arrays and it'll say 0. Okay, now add a 1 to it, then add a 2 to it, so now it's 3. Then add a 3 to it, so now it's 6. Then a 4, then it's 10, then add, and then keep going. Add a 1, it's 11. It's just going to keep going on and on until it has looped over all of these numbers and added them to the sum, and then it's just going to return the sum and say, here's all of these numbers added together. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new variable. It's going to be called new array. And what this one is going to do, it's going to take array 1, and it's going to concat that with array 2. So it's going to combine both of these arrays into one. Let's return that. New array. Let's just return that. And what I'm going to do, just to see the output of this, I'm going to console.log array plus array, and make sure you add the arguments array 2, and hopefully when I run it. Okay, so here's what I have in my function currently. It's doing, nothing is happening with this sum right now. So disregard that. All my function is doing right now is it's taking array 1, it's taking array 2, combining them together in one array. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now what we got to do is we have to use this sum, and we're going to just start putting these numbers into this sum. Let's get rid of this return value. So I need a loop. If you're doing a standard JavaScript loop, this was one thing when I was learning JavaScript that really confused me. It just never made sense. So for a loop, the basic construction of a loop, it works like this. You have to tell the computer to do every single step. So here's the thing. Loops, they basically will loop over whatever you're telling them to loop over, and then they will do something. So my loop, it's going to loop over this combined array where I have all these numbers. So it's going to loop over the 1 and then the 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 because I'm combining them. So it's going to loop over them, and every time it sees a number, it's going to add it to this 0. So it's going to loop over this combined array. Just pretend like these two are 1 because that's what that is right here now. It's just one big array. It's going to loop over all the numbers and it's going to say 1. Okay, add 1 to 0. Now 2, add 2 to that whatever the number is now, which is 1. And it's going to loop over all the numbers and just add them to this so that it can find the sum of all these numbers. But with loops, you have to be very specific, and you have to tell the computer to do every single step because it doesn't know how to do that yet. So what you tell it is you say, let the index equal 0. So you're telling the computer, start at 0. Okay? And then if your index is smaller than the new array dot length. So start at 0, and then if your index, or like this index is your counter, basically. It's going to count. It's going to iterate through whatever you are going through. So it's going to start at 0, and it's going to say, okay, until I am at the length of this new array, I'm going to keep looping and keep counting through whatever I'm counting through. And it's counting through all of these numbers right here. New array dot length. This is new array, and the length of it is these combined. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So basically, it's 8 times. It's going to count to. It's going to count through this 8 basically. So I start at 0. So until I am at the length of my new array, I'm going to just move up 1. So just count up 1. That's what this means right here. So basically start at 0, go to 8, and then move up 1. So we need another set of curly braces because now it's going to do something inside of this loop. So let's do this. Let's start adding these values to my counter. And let's say, we're going to say, okay, so every time I count over a number, add it to this sum right here. The easiest way to put that is sum is equal to sum plus new array and index. The new array index is referring to whichever number I am on. So it'll start at the first entry, and it'll start at the first one, and it'll say, all right, 0, add the 1 to it, and then now it's 1. Okay, go to the next one, add the 2 to it, and then it's going to be a 3. So add the 3 to it. Nothing is going to happen yet because I didn't return a value from this whole function. So in the end, return the sum. So I have my two arrays up here. I have my function that takes the two arrays, and then it's going to combine the two arrays into one. Then it's going to loop over that big array. And every time it sees a number, it's going to add that number to this 0. So with these values here, I should get 20 as an output. And I hit save, node script.js, 20. So let's change one of these numbers just to test. Change this to a 2. I hope I get 21. 21. Change this one to a 2. Save it. Run it. Also, I'm pulling these previous commands by hitting the up arrow in the terminal if you don't feel like retyping it all the time. 22. Let's make this a 3. 23. Okay, let's put them back. And let's look at this really quick just to change this. You can change these values. So like you could tell the loop, hey, start at number 1 right here. You can kind of play around with these loops to see what they do. So you could do, let's have it start at 1. 19. So it's starting 1 ahead in the loop. So it is disregarding one of those entries in the array. I could say I could make this. Here, let me change this really quick. Let me put this back at 0. Start at 0, and then start counting up. Start counting up from 0. So the machine says, okay, start at 0, just like everybody does when they count, and then I say 1, 2, 3. It's looping that way. 20. Okay, so this is what I had right here. What's going on is I can statically set this loop right here. So I can say, hey, start at 0 and then count up until you reach 8. So it's going to do the math correctly right now because essentially what it's counting over, I'll show you what new array is. New array right here is, just to kind of avoid some confusion, is this. Let me comment that out just so you can see it. So new array right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 8 entries, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So basically it's going to look over, and it's going to, well, it's actually not looking over anything right now. It's just this loop right here is counting up to 8. It's starting at 0, and then it says, hey, until I reach the number 8, just go up 1. So it's just saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then every time it counts up, it says, hey, remember that sum right there? Well, take that sum and add the index of the new array, which is this right here. I think I ran that, but let's do that again. 20. However, if I change these values and I throw a 5 in here, let's run that really quick. It still has 20 because it's not dynamically looping. It's going up to 8, but we have 9. We have 9 entries total now because our new array is now this. But it's not accommodating for that. It's only counting up 8. So that's why I use this new array.length, because it's constantly evaluating what is the length of this new array. And the length of it right now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's going to count up until it reaches that 9 length right there. So node, and it's working. It will, if I can change these, I can start adding values. So now that new array.length is now 10, and it's going to combine these into one array, and it's going to add these numbers to this 0 every time it sees every time it goes over a new number. Let's see, 30. Let's add a 3. 33. Cool. So ideally, if I take this, copy it, go to Codewars, let's do a quick refresh just in case. Paste it, and I'm sitting behind it, but what you can do is you test it. Cool. And then what you can do is you attempt it, and all good. All right, so there's our challenge for today. Let me know if that helped you out, or if there's anything I can do better. And then I'm thinking this time next week, I'll be back with another one. All right, thanks. Bye.